Hey y'all, welcome to Stivers Homestead. I'm Zach, and today's a little different. Today's video isn't so much homesteading, but it is something that relates to everyone and all of us. And it's something I wanted to talk about, and I'm honestly just trying to figure out the words I want to say. So kind of bear with me on it. But I want to talk about grief. I want to talk about loss. But I primarily want to talk about others and how we need to be looking at others and how our assumptions and expectations of others needs to be humbled, I guess, because we're all going through something. We all have loss. We all have grief. And if it's not active at this moment, they've either had it or they're going to have it. And everybody's going to react differently. So let me give a little, I guess, why this is active right now. I guess backstory. 3 years ago, that's when my dad, he passed away in 2019. It was the first year we were doing YouTube. He passed away in July of 2019. Shortly after that, my cousin, he passed away. And then here of recent, my grandmother has passed away, and then my grandfather passed away, and then just yesterday, my other grandfather passed away, and we went to his funeral. Brought back a lot of emotions because it was back in our hometown. Got to see my dad's family that I haven't seen pretty much since he's passed, who are huge, important pieces of my life. And, you know, on top of the human deaths, I've had animal deaths. This week, T-Bird passed. Freaking rooster. If you've watched us, you know T-Bird. He's our Polish rooster, the yellow one that we've had for a really long time. He died of old age. We've had him for, I don't know, six, 7 years. We knew he was getting older, but he was always feisty. And then just one day he climbed into the old rabbit hutch and just passed away. And that's really sad. I know he was a fan favorite. He was also a family favorite. We loved him, even with his feistiness. It all, you know, kind of hits at the same time sometimes. And we've been doing videos through all of this and not really, you know, telling you all about it because we deal with grief differently. We deal with loss differently. We choose to not put our sorrows and worries and deaths and grief on you all. Because in my eyes, when you do that on this platform, it could be opening up old wounds that some of you all have. And I'm not doing this video today because of that, or trying to do that. It's more of just, I'm not sure. I want to do a video about what I would feed our animals if we couldn't get feed, but I turned on the camera and I saw my bags under my eyes, and I knew I couldn't do it today. I couldn't muster that one up today. I'm just having a day, and I don't know. Okay. Let me try to pull this together to have some kind of reason or meaning or why I'm even on your screen right now. Jen and I choose daily to be happy. We choose happiness every single day. We choose not to sulk in our grief. We choose not to worry about death. We choose not to fear death. And we know it's coming in some form or fashion between animals, loved ones. It's coming, right? So we don't fear death. We don't stress about it. We know that it's a natural way. So every morning we wake up and we choose to be happy. We choose to have a good day with our children. We choose to have a good day between husband and wife. We choose to have good days on the homesteads, even if that brings bad days, because there's some stuff that's just gonna happen. But even through the bad, we still choose to be happy. The old wise words of my grandmother, Nanny, that lived with us in her last remaining days, Her famous words of wisdom were always, everything's gonna work out. She said, I haven't ever seen it when it doesn't work out. Sun's gonna set, sun's gonna rise. What you can choose is how you act while the sun's moving. So we choose to be happy. But I think sometimes that portrays as in we don't care, we're heartless, we don't grieve loss. Because on the camera or on phone calls or texts, it's not something we talk about. We don't talk about how painful something was because we choose to be happy. But what I want to express is we all deal with grief and loss differently. Jen and I normally deal with our pain and suffering that we have together, alone, on our porch. We talk about it, we talk it out, we get things off our chest, we have good cries. Had a pretty good one last night because it's just an emotional day. And yesterday specifically, as much as I'm gonna miss my grandfather that passed, it was more about missing what was, I guess, before my dad passed, when we lived at our old place. We've done videos about was moving here the right decision and stuff like that. And nothing ever has to do with the physical place. It always has to do with the people and what we wanted it to become. Quickly, obviously humbled knowing that what we want isn't always God's plan. So you have to roll with that, and that's okay. But when you go back and, you see stuff that you saw for 30 years, your kids are getting excited because they're seeing things that they remember from their childhood, and they're starting to tell stories between each other. That was really the emotional toll yesterday, was we were seeing things that reminded us of good times, and we wanted them again. And it really hurt because our children were going through it. It was the first time that they really expressed that way. And it was just honestly their pure enjoyment and happiness that really hit hard with Jen and I. And then on top of getting to see, my dad's family and everything, like I had mentioned, I hadn't seen them since he's passed, really, because we're about almost 3 hours away now. So it isn't like something that they can visit us or we can go visit them just on any time. It is something we're going to try to do more of because of the good memories, and we want our children to have more of that. No excuses. It just hadn't happened over the past 3 years. So there was a lot of emotions in that. So Jen and I, we had a nice night last night, just talking, getting things out. It's always good to get your emotions out. We just choose not to do it in a public manner. But that doesn't mean we're not grieving. And so my main point that I want to talk about is that just because someone's not showing it in a public eye doesn't mean that they're not hurting. It doesn't mean that they don't care. It just means they're dealing with it differently. But it never hurts to maybe ask. Ask a loved one how they're doing. Ask them if they need to talk. Don't even ask about the grieving part. Maybe just call them. It's very important to remember to not get lost in your own worry and grief, that you have blinders on the people that you care about. Because the people that you care about are the ones that maybe you need to reach out to. Because you may be surprised of the grief that you're feeling, and the hurt that you're feeling may also be relieved by connecting with a loved one that's going through something the same. And even if you don't see it physically, it doesn't mean that they're not going through it. It's pretty amazing how self-centered us as a world has become. I don't know when the switch flipped. Probably the COVID crap. But man, everybody's different. Everything's different. The world I'm not talking about everyone specifically. I'm talking about, it seems like the world as a whole is it's different. No one actually cares. You know what I mean? No one really truly feels like they care. People will say stuff, but it's like 1 out of 100 might mean it. You know what I mean? We're all so self-centered and worried about our own problems that nobody else's problems can be worse than ours, right? And I hate that. I hate that feels the way that we are as a human race. Jesus 101. Like, don't just think about yourself. Keep your eyes forward. Choose to be happy. Choose to reach your hand out to the ones that you care about. Choose to put yourself last and others before you. Always be giving more than you're taking. Right now, it feels like we're all just doing a whole lot of taking. I don't know. If anything, thank y'all for just letting me talk. I appreciate it. And we're fine. I'm fine. This morning's fine. It's going to be a great day here on the homestead. We're really excited about the beautiful weather we've been having. But something that Jen has called out on me is that I need to start enjoying the little moments a little bit more, especially now that I'm not working. Like, don't rush through chores. Don't rush through videos. Don't rush to get to the next thing, even though our list is massive. Sit down and enjoy the moment a little bit more. Enjoy the time. So, like, right now I'm sitting in the barn. After this, we're going to go pack and ship out a bunch more orders from you all that you all had purchased, and we appreciate it. But right now, it's a cool-ish morning. I'm just watching the animals because they make me happy. Not doing this because just doing it. It's a really expensive hobby, but they can feed us. So I'm watching, checking out the animals. I got cats playing everywhere. They like to show off when I'm up here. Benny trying to chew on me. So I'm learning, like we all are. I'm learning how to be a better person. And I want everybody to learn how to be a better person. And the biggest thing is just quit assuming you know what others are going through or how they're feeling. That should be an assumption that you never, ever make. Because you don't know. Make sure that you're picking up the phone, which is another thing I'm working on. Pick up the phone, call the loved ones you haven't talked to in a while, keep those connections, and never assume you understand another person's grief or pain. Because you don't. You 100% do not understand. But that's okay, as long as we're there to open our arms rather than shut them out. It's like I'm talking to you all, but I'm also talking to myself because it's a big thing I need to do. Kind of have that, like, buck up and get over it mentality. Well, when you buck up and get over it so many times, you have mornings like this and you're talking to 90,000 people or 500,000 on Facebook about you, about all the stuff. So there's no right way. It's just your way. As long as you're looking to the Lord, you're not pointing your finger at your neighbor or pointing your finger at your family, you think, well, I'll be all right. I think that's about all I want to say. I want to sit up here for a little bit longer. Gnats are starting to come out. Can't do this when it gets hot. This barn is fantastic. It stays very cool. But there's cows right behind me, dropping massive patties. So when it starts getting hot, you gotta start getting the bugs. And I promise I'll do the video about how we're gonna feed our animals if we can't get a hold of feed. That video is coming. Somebody asked it, and I thought it was a great question. We do look at those questions and stuff, so if you have things that you wanna ask, make sure that you're putting them down in our comments. Ones like that, like I wanna do a full video about it because I think it's important to know. But today was just about loss. It was just about grief. It was just about loving thy neighbor, not assuming. Just don't assume. Don't assume. Pretty much plain and simple, just don't assume. Don't assume you know. And if you're going through grief and loss, my heart goes out to you. Either if it's old, if it's present, or it's coming. It's something that we're all gonna face. But we can choose to be happy. And that's what we're gonna choose. That's what we're always gonna choose every single day. We're not gonna let our pain take us down. Because I guarantee you, whoever that loved one is that you're grieving over would not want you to be that way. They would not want you to sulk and ruin your day to day because they're no longer here. Choose to be happy. All right, y'all. We'll get back to normal stuff on the next video. We love y'all. Till the next one.